Hi, today I'd like to give you an overview of the Phonemic Chart. It's a great tool for your English pronunciation. No, is it really? Can't you just use Google to find out the pronunciation of an English word? Right, this thing is a waste of time. Actually be useful for students of English.
You're listening to 103.7 The Hawk. It's currently 62 degrees.
Hi, I'm Damien, the sledgehammer that smashes down English language barriers. And this series is called English Riot Rants. It's where I speak about maybe sometimes a controversial topic in learning or teaching English. And this one, as you probably know from the intro, is all about the Phonemic Chart. And as I rip my copy of it up, we're going to have to use a bit of editing magic to bring the chart back to life. So let's start with some reasons why not to use the Phonemic Chart. A lot of the time I think teachers and students seem to think now, because we have the internet and online dictionaries, you can just look up the pronunciation, copy it, and you'll have perfect pronunciation of that word. Also, it's easy to access different movies and different sites to shadow someone's pronunciation. But, and this is a big but, can you actually do that? I mean, you probably have some very small percent of the population probably can mimic or shadow someone's accent perfectly, but most people, including me, can't do that. And that's where the Phonemic Chart comes into play, because sometimes you need to go deeper than just copying. So early on in my teaching days, I used to get frustrated because it was difficult to help people with major pronunciation problems in English. The best tools I had in my teaching toolbox at the time was repeat after me. And I could see that really wasn't working or wasn't going to cut it. So when I was doing a action research project in the classroom, I decided to improve my ability to give feedback on pronunciation. And the way to do this was the Phonemic Chart. Before that time, I'd sort of, avoided the chart myself, because I was thinking, we've got an alphabet already. Why do I need to learn a whole lot of other complex symbols to represent the sounds in English? Isn't the 26 letters of the alphabet enough? Well, as I was to find out, they're not. So my advice to you is to give the Phonemic Chart a chance. Because there's a bit of a problem. And if you look at it, there's only like 26 letters. But in English, there are over 40 sounds. And this problem comes even more clear when you look at the vowels, because you only have 5 vowels, right? A, E, I, O, U. While you have, 20 different sounds represented by only 5 letters. And as you can understand, that's where a lot of problems come, in particular with spelling in the English language. So, but back to the research, we were recording students' voices in a program called VoiceThread, and I decided I wanted to give more precise feedback. And so that's where my love affair with the Phonemic Chart began. So my first step was to learn the chart, the symbols, the sounds, and then apply that knowledge to helping my students with their pronunciation. Because here's the beauty of the whole thing. The phonemic chart, once you learn how it's structured or ordered or organized in that rectangle, it really starts to become, a useful tool in your mind, because it's designed as a map of a mouth, or a map of the mouth. So just like how you use Google Maps, to find places, you use the phonemic chart as a Google map of the mouth to find the position of different sounds. Now, this is the elegant or beautiful thing about the chart, that it's designed to help you find those muscle buttons or physical positions in the mouth to produce all the 40 plus sounds in English. And another thing you might not realize about the phonemic chart is that it actually covers the 3 levels of pronunciation. You might notice in the corner there, it has 2 dashes and also some arrows pointing up and down. So the 3 aspects of pronunciation that these symbols represent include the individual sounds like e, b, a, etc. While we then move up to the word stress level, which is represented by those 2 dashes, and you'll see those in any good dictionary, and that shows you which syllable is stressed. So they have 2 because there is a primary and secondary stress. The primary stress, the marker goes above the syllable, while with the secondary stress, the marker goes below the syllable. And after the word stress level, we then move to the sentence level, where we have intonation, because English is a stress-timed language, so it has a lot of la-di-da-di-da-di-da. So your pitch is moving up and down, and that's what those arrows represent. All right, let's have a look at the design of this first box in the chart. So starting at the top, going across horizontally, we start with the sound E, going to I, U, oo. Okay, so you can probably notice at the start on the left side, you start with a spread lips, going all the way to rounded lips on the right hand side. And this is the same for the next 2 lines underneath. Left to right is spread to rounded. Also your tongue, you can notice how that goes. Have a go. E, I, U, oo. So your tongue starts up high and then comes down low. All right, so moving to the vertical axis, if we move down, you will notice something with your jaw. So if we go E, E, A, and put your hand here, E, E, A. Okay, so basically at the top, your jaw is practically closed, moving to the bottom where your jaw is wide and open. So yeah, that's the basic muscle buttons used in producing the single vowel sounds in that section of the chart. Moving to the next section along the top, these are now vowel songs, but you call these diphthongs, which simply means a combination of 2 vowel sounds together. And you can see the organisation for this is according to the final sound in that diphthong. So if we look at the chart, we can see we have ia, ua, and air. And so they all start with a different vowel sound, but end with the same vowel sound of the schwa of and that's also how the other 2 lines are organised. And remember, up in the top right corner, we have those boxes that include syllable stress and also intonation and pitch, the la-di-da-di-da of English. We've dealt with the vowels. Now let's move to the rectangle at the bottom. Now these are the consonant sounds. So once again, they show the position in your mouth by the way that they're placed on the chart. So going from left to right, looking at the first line, these are called plosives, which means you stop the air and then release like a small explosion. So you'll notice as we move from left to right, going p, b, t, d, ch, j, k, g. We're moving from the front of the mouth to the lips, stopping the air, to the back of the mouth with k and g, which is the back of your tongue, stopping the air on the roof of your mouth. Also, another interesting point to notice is that these sounds, you get 2 for the price of 1. So what I mean by that is p and b, you use the same mouth position of the lips obstructing or blocking the air, but the only difference is you have non-voiced and voiced. So non-voiced is like you're using air. So if you put your hand here, you should p, you'll feel some air on your hands. Well, b, you won't feel much air because you're producing the sound through your voice box. Now the next line down is organised in a similar way, except these sounds are fricatives, and fricatives is talking about friction. So you're not actually directly stopping the air and releasing, you are positioning in different parts of your mouth to create friction or to narrow the gap or airways out of your lungs. So once again, if you go left to right, it's starting at the front of your mouth, going to the back of your mouth. So we go the, sh, zh. And you can feel that in your mouth. So make sure you give it a go. Also, the same as the line above, you get the 2 for the price of 1 bonus, as in you use very similar mouth position, but all you do is have your voice box switched off or on. Okay, moving on to the final line of this consonant rectangle. This is sort of all the other leftover bits. So the group of 3 on the left, which is are all your nasal sounds, and that's once again organised from front of the mouth to the back of the mouth. Then we have like h, which is sort of all by itself there. It's very similar to a vowel, and so are the liquids, I think they're called. It is like r, w, and y are sort of like semi vowels or half vowels, because you're sort of in between a vowel and a consonant, and that's why a lot of these sounds are used to link 2 vowel sounds together. So for example, we have we all. So you can see the E and the O are connected by a Y sound. We all. So yeah, that's the chart. A very quick whirlwind tour to give you an overview of why this chart might be important to you if you have pronunciation problems in English. Okay, before I finish this video, let's return to my story about my action research project. So once I got a lot of input from my students in their speaking, I was able then to isolate or find out what their pronunciation problems were in English. And then I could use the chart or the map of the mouth to help students find the sounds that they were having problems with. So, for example, we can use 2 journeys to help you or other students to find the r or r sound in English. So to go on a journey, the first one, we start at the N sound, then move to ooh. So if you notice if ooh, your tongue is moving up one step between and ooh on the ridge of your gums above your two front teeth. And then the next step is to take your tongue off and bend it back to find So we go ooh, let's do it a little bit faster. And now another way, which might be easier for you to find is to start at s. So we go s and move to j. So it's moving your tongue from a flatter position up and then curling it over. Let's try it one more time. All right, that's it for today. So hopefully this little tour of the map of the mouth or the phonemic chart has gotten you interested in this tool in helping your pronunciation and English. Now, if you want to go more in depth into individual sounds, then make sure you check out my series about the phonemic chart where I focus on a different set of sounds each week. And remember, start taking your English mask off today.